A venomous pit viper can strike in under 90 milliseconds, which is 2 times as fast as you can blink. Last summer, my neighbor spent $55 on chemical powders to protect his grandkids and beagle, but a copperhead still curled right up on his welcome mat. I'm going to show you how to snake-proof your yard for under $10, using physical boundaries that protect your family. There's a cheap trick my granddaddy used that uses a basic black fabric from the local hardware store to stop snakes right at the property line. It does not use smells or chemical sprays. I'll show you exactly how to bury it, so no slithering predator can crawl under or over. But first, you need to understand why these reptiles are slipping past your porch. Now listen, I'm Otis, and I've spent my whole life working the soil down south. Back home in Peach County, Georgia, we had to deal with eastern copperheads every day in the peach orchards. The old-timers didn't have money for fancy solutions during the Great Depression. My granddaddy used to say that we had to rely on first-hand observations and cheap physical setups that actually did the job. Some folks feel terrified just walking to their mailbox at dusk. That fear is real. Copperheads have an hourglass pattern that blends perfectly with dry oak leaves and pine straw. Last October, my friend was raking leaves behind his greenhouse when he felt a sudden, sharp sting on his ankle. He thought he ran into a briar bush, but looked down and saw a fat copperhead in the leaf litter. That one bite resulted in a 2-day stay at the local hospital and 12 vials of antivenom. That's a $48,000 medical bill just because of a hidden pile of yard waste. Snakes only come to your yard for shelter and mice. If you give them those, they'll set up house. Most folks buy a $20 jug of Dr. T's Snake Away at the garden center. It smells like sulfur and naphthalene, which is just mothballs. But here's the hard truth. Back in 1993, a researcher named Rex Marsh at the University of California tested these chemicals. He put down a 12-inch wide band of that repellent and released 12 gopher snakes. Every one snake crossed that barrier, averaging 2.7 crossings every 1 hour. In 1995, Dennis Ferraro at the University of Nebraska tried it on Plains garter snakes. In 24 yards, 78% of the snakes ignored the chemicals. In fact, 90% walked right over pure sulfur. Reptiles don't have soft skin like insects. Soap or boric acid will easily dissolve a wasp nest, but a snake has tough scales. They don't care about smelly powders. My granddaddy used to say a tidy yard is the best shield. The way we did it back home started with the lawnmower. If you keep your grass mowed to 2 inches or less, you strip away the snake's confidence. Hawks and owls are constantly scanning the ground from above. A snake knows that crawling across short turf makes it an easy lunch. It'll stay in the tall brush next door. Once the grass is short, look at your ornamental bushes. Down where I grew up, we call this lollipop pruning. Trim the lower branches of every shrub until there's a clear gap of 24 to 36 inches between the ground and the lowest leaves. This removes the shade and lets the sun dry out the soil. Snakes are cold-blooded, but they hate baking in direct sunlight without a cool place to escape. They'll move on. To protect your actual house foundation, use sharp, vesicular lava rock. Lay down a bed of this rock that's 2 to 3 feet wide and 5 to 6 inches deep against the basement walls. Reptiles have highly sensitive bellies. They'll refuse to crawl over or bask on those rough, glassy edges because it irritates their belly scales. This is a simple barrier that never wears out. Look at where you store your winter firewood. Wood piles are the favorite home for mice. If you stack your logs on the ground, you're building a rodent hotel, and the copperheads will follow. I made this mistake 5 years ago, stacking logs against my tool shed. Within a month, I found a copperhead underneath, so I bought a raised metal rack. Now I keep my wood stacked 12 to 16 inches off the soil. This keeps the ground open and prevents mice from nesting. If your property borders a forest or a swamp, stop them before they enter. Buy a 100-foot roll of black geotextile silt fence with stakes already attached. Dig a narrow trench 4 to 6 inches deep along your property line. Drop the bottom edge of the fabric into that trench and pack the dirt down tight. Make sure the stakes face your side of the yard. This creates a solid, slick wall that snakes cannot burrow under or climb over. Some properties have old concrete steps with small gaps. Snakes can't chew or dig, but they'll squeeze through any crack larger than 1/4 of an inch. Walk around your house with silicone caulk or mortar. Seal up every opening around your crawl space, your concrete porch, and the places where pipes enter your walls. If you block their entryways, you keep them out of your basement for good. Another common mistake is how we feed the birds. Those hanging feeders are basically dinner bells for rodents. The birds drop sunflower seeds all over the ground, which attracts mice at night. In the spring and summer, take those feeders down. If you must feed your pets outside, clean up the leftovers immediately. Put the dry kibble in airtight metal cans. If you starve out the mice, the snakes will have no reason to visit. To get security around a children's play area or a dog run, build a specialized fence using 1/4-inch galvanized steel mesh. Buy a roll 36 inches tall. Bury the bottom 6 inches straight into the ground. Slant the remaining 30 inches outward, away from your yard, at a 30-degree angle. This angle forces any climbing snake to lose its grip and fall backward. Finally, look at your hardscaping. Loose rock walls look beautiful, but those gaps between the stones are perfect thermal refuges. Snakes crawl deep inside those pockets to warm up their bodies. If you have an old rock wall near your house, consider replacing it with tight-fitting timber or solid mortared concrete blocks. If there are no hollow chambers, there are no snake dens. Let's be honest, this won't magically erase every reptile. You might still see a black racer or a garter snake cruising along your outer fence line. But that's actually a good thing because they keep the rodent population down. These physical barriers create a buffer zone. They make your immediate yard so bright and dry that a cautious ambush predator like a copperhead will choose to stay in the woods. The peace of mind is worth every second. If a snake manages to get inside your crawl space, you don't need weapons. Lay a pile of wet burlap sacks in a dark corner of your basement and cover them with a dry bag to lock in moisture. Snakes are drawn to cool, damp spaces and will crawl right under the folds. In the middle of the day, use a flat shovel to scoop up the pile and carry it outside. If you prefer a sturdier setup, tack 3 rodent glue boards to a 16 by 24-inch piece of plywood. Drill a 3/4-inch hole in the opposite corner so you can retrieve it with a hook on a long stick. Once outside, pour vegetable oil over the snake to break down the adhesive so it slithers away unharmed. Just 1 cup of canola oil neutralizes the stickiest glue in under 5 minutes.